Hello, how you doing? Hope you're doing good. Today's Thursday, and so I thought I'd start off with this. It's raining. It's been a while since it actually rained, and not like torrential rain. It's a nice kind of rain. So I didn't really know what else to talk about today except, well, semester's basically done now. I have no homework left for pretty much any of my classes. It's all final exam stuff. This coming weekend, I even have the work. I called out of work because I said, final exams are coming, guys. I need some time to study. Now I'm gonna try and just call it this weekend. They said, sure, why not? Go for it. Do good on those finals. So now I'm getting ready to study, and then part of me is kind of just like, I don't feel like studying. I'm really tired from this semester. I am high quality, high class kind of tired from this tomfoolery of both professors and myself. One professor in one class in particular has had some unique screw-ups, I will say, because they are just legitimately, they are full-on screw-ups. Midterm examination, prime example, pretty much. You don't go to a midterm as a professor and not own your mistake, and instead you just say, oh, the answer choice that you have on the thing, you're right, it's not on your Scantron, it doesn't say letter F as an option, it's a possible answer choice. And then after the midterm has passed, we're after spring break, we're just studying the new content. He's like, oh no, that answer choice, that was never an actual answer choice. It just never was. I forgot to not include it on your exam is all. And it's kind of just like, quite frankly, as a student, it's like you're almost setting us up to fail when you do that. And then as a professor, it's your responsibility and your job to assess our knowledge, not to impede it. And by not acknowledging your mistake and admitting it to us, you are blatantly lying to our faces as a professor. And that was a really big screw up. So, when you're in college, don't forget, as a student, you have rights just as much as professors have responsibilities that they must stand up with and be held accountable for. So for those of you in college, basically, this is just a reminder. Don't forget that as a student, you do have some power in the classroom. Professors are not gods. They don't have all say and all bark and all bite. It's like they have some bark, they have some bite, but you have some too. And it's perfectly within a student's grasp to call out a professor when they are wrong and point it out and make them, be held accountable for it. And make them admit it, because if they don't admit it, that's a problem, both for you and for them. More the school and department, actually, than it is for them, though. Just because the department's the one who hired them, and the school is the one who pays them. So it's a problem for both entities. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, anyways, I'll get off that little mini rant, I guess. And yeah, today was just an interesting day. I had a decent day considering I had my last lecture for 2 classes. And I am glad it's the last lecture, because good lord, do I not want to come back. Annoying. It could be one word to summarize both classes. The lab, I took the final exam for lab, it was an official lab. Okay, so this is my morning class on Thursdays, is networking. So router, switches, internet structure, kind of. And while it's interesting content and whatnot, it's kind of one of those things where you can get very bored very quickly. And because of that, you can fall asleep, or you can, in my case, because it's in the morning, you can come in late. Which is probably the most common thing in that class, is coming in late. Except for those who are, in the on-campus, living situation, and they just get on the shuttle and boom, you're there. Guaranteed timing, pretty much. Whereas driving here on the highway on the Interstate 66, it's more variable, pretty much. So, yeah, okay, I see maintenance required, I know. Apparently I need to do an oil change is what this maintenance required translates to. It's flashing every once in a while. Every time we start the car, I see this flash. Doop, doop, doop. Maintenance required, maintenance required, maintenance required. It's like as if it just wants to scream at me. So, yeah, we're about to get on the highway and like, I should say interstate because it is an interstate. Thing. I-66 is exactly that. Highway I consider like Route 50, Route 7, Route 28. What else is there? There's so many different routes and whatnot, but they also have names too, which is really just like one of those things that makes me kind of go, huh? Because if you're gonna call it Route 50, all along the way that it is Route 50, then why do you need to give it a name for like different segments? It's just like, okay, why don't you just say that's Route 50, that's Route 28, they're parallel, in between's Route 7 or whatever, I don't know. But it's like, you don't need to redefine what's already defined. Unless it's messed up. Classic case. If it's not fixed, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So, yeah. Anyways. I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't think I'm gonna try to do driving commentary on the interstate today because I'm just kind of. I think my depression right now is actually kicking up a notch, which is unfortunate, but that's because of sleep. I'm pretty much determined now. If I can get enough sleep, I'm pretty much keeping my depression in control pretty well. So there's that. Thank God. Truly just thank God, because for the longest time I really thought I basically have no medication or no means to deal with my depression except just dealing with it, just going, oh great, okay, yeah, it's flaring up. Now I know it's like, okay, as long as I get enough sleep, I don't have to deal much with the depression. I'm happy, I'm having fun times, I'm learning things, whatever, so on and so forth. I'm creating things this summer. I might take an internship depending upon a conversation I plan to have with my parents. I'm looking at doing accelerated Masters of Science program at Mason. As much as I don't want to do my master's here, and I don't want to be around here, and I don't want to live under their roof for much longer at all, I still might actually do that simply because I do want more money, because I really freaking need it, and I need the money for various projects. Robotics, I would love to do that. Even if I don't create a startup, one thing I do know I want to do is be on the YouTube scene and showcasing it's like, this is what I'm doing with robotics, because it is fun. And having no one to talk to with regards to my family, it's like they don't give a crap. They really don't. They don't care. They don't want to support it. They don't give any hoot or thought or even a blink of an eye of anything towards my interest of robotics. They're just like, oh yeah, my son's doing robotics. It's like a long time ago they wanted me to try it out. And it's like, okay, so here's a really, I think, a good example of where my interests come from and why they've come to be the way they are now. So for me, programming, which is something I am good at, I put in quotes because I've lost my momentum, and I'm trying hard again to revamp that and actually be able to say I am good at programming. And it's more importantly, it's no longer programming that I'm really focusing on. I'm actually trying to make the process of software development ingrained in me. Like, I'm trying to relearn and deepen my knowledge and my skills in the software development lifecycle. So SDLC is what's commonly called. But it's really the shortest way is what a job is what the job is. You're developing software. You're an engineer because it is a process. A developer is not so much of a process or processor, a software processor, goes through the process of doing all this stuff, and that guy drifted way too far out. Driver commentary. So that's where I come from. That's what I'm trying to do now. And the whole thing started back in high school, like second year of high school. And it's like that was all on my own. That really was all on my own. The thing that my parents did was, here's the example. Imagine giving a sixth grader in middle school, okay, first year of middle school, like a lollipop, and saying, here, try this lollipop, and or some new candy that the parent thinks you'll like because you like this other kind of stuff, or you're good at this other kind of stuff. And your parent, your mom and dad says, here, try this, this candy. We think you might like it. And you're like, no, I don't want to try it right now. I'll, maybe another time or later on. I don't know when. You put it to the side, and then they just later on, like a month later, or the next day, your parents say, oh, that candy that we were trying to getting you to try, oh, we already threw it out. We didn't think you'd like, we didn't know what you were going to do about it. We kind of were like hoping that you would, but you didn't really act on it, So we just kind of threw it away. We didn't know what else to do with it. And when you come back to discover, when you realize that you do want to try that candy, or you do want to try it out and figure out, what it tastes like, what it's all about, and why there's so much hype about this. Like a Starbucks drink. Why is it hyped so much? You have to try it and buy it to find out. So that's what happened. It was robotics. They told me, hey, Travis, how about you go and practice or, join this robotics club? And back then I was just like, no thanks. Maybe later. I don't know. I don't know when or if I'm really interested. So let's just, for now, kind of push it away for right now. Because I was, at that time in my life, I was actually taking on advanced mathematical classes, and I was getting my butt whooped a lot. And I beat myself into the mentality of, this is good for me. Screwed my head up in some ways, and that's probably still present for all I know. And from that moment on, that robotics thing, like I said, the example with the candy, later on I came to realize that it's interesting, and it's like, it's tasty candy, but I can't find it, and I don't have it anymore. So I had to hunt for it, and hunt it on my own. And because my parents threw it away, they didn't think about it anymore either. So they're just like, oh, well, it is what it is, you'll do what you want. And it's like, they didn't want to, do any more beyond that, because they were busy with their own stuff. Sure. But they never came back, is what happened. So for me, it's like, now, I really want to get back into programming, and my dad doesn't want to support it. I really want to get back into robotics. Neither of them want to support it. I wanted to build something for my parents one time, and I suggested the idea. They're just like, shoot it down and shoot yourself in the foot. We don't want it. We don't care about it. You can do whatever the hell you want. And I'm kind of just like, I'm sorry. What? What do you mean you don't really care? What do you mean you don't want it? Like, what about the experience of the process of the building, the fun times of building it? That's how you learn. Anyways, I'll cap it at that. I'm already on the interstate here. So I hope you guys have a good day, good rest of your day, since it's, only 7:30. Hopefully you don't stay up too late like I do. Don't lose sleep. Don't lose too much, at least. Anyways, enough of that. Alright, have a good night. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Hit that like button if you liked today's video. And while you're at it, hit that subscriber button too, because, hey, you might get a new video update. Bye.